each other, encourage each other, and build each other. Because there's strength in unity. Because one thing I've learned myself, the devil operates in secrecy. He wants to catch you by yourself, get you alone, because he feels that's at the weakest point. But the Bible tells us, forsake yourself not with the assembly of one another. Yes. Because there's strength in unity. Yes. And as you sit down and enjoy your breakfast this morning, I want to welcome you here, let you know that you are welcome. We appreciate you coming in. We thank you for your time. Amen.
Okay, briefly, I'll share with you our purpose. To me, the purpose is simple. When we talk about ministrative men, and I don't want to offend any pastors, when we talk about ministrative men, it goes way beyond coming to church to hear a sermon. We love sermons. We love the pastors. They do an excellent job. Amen. So there's not a jab at anybody. But there are so many needs that we have as human beings and as men that never gets addressed. So what we try to do is we try to form a consortium and a camaraderie where we can actually talk to one another, speak to one another, work with one another, work with our young men, etc. And as I'm sharing that, we have a group of our friends from Tyler, Texas that were kind enough to come over and share with us this morning. If you see them at the back table to my right. We want to let them know that we appreciate them. And I see a couple of athletes in here, Mr. Eric, and some other young men. Even though I have to say, Eric, I'm sorry, but Eric was a Northwood fan. I always mess with athletes about that. But he's a great young man, and we're great happy to know him. And I see some of the other young men that were at Green Oaks, etc. So I can only say this as we get ready to bring up Sheriff Whitehorn, is these young men can tell you I've been this way ever since they've known me. And why do I say that? My motto has always been, we do not celebrate us. We talk about us. Right. We disparage us. Well. We embarrass us. Okay. We put us down. Yeah. But when it comes to celebrating us, that's a different story. Right. You know, as if it's going to cost us something to say true and nice things about other people. So as we prepare to Sheriff Whitehorn to come up, those of you that do not know, Sheriff Whitehorn was, Sheriff, I'm going to say this, Sheriff Whitehorn was a sheriff 3 times. Yes, sir. We're talking about history, right? We're talking about history, and we have some other guests with us via Zoom. But we have sitting physically with us Sheriff Whitehorn, who is history. And I was just telling Sheriff a moment ago, like I told my friend Doug Williams, I said, Doug, there's never a second number one. You know, people love to try to say, well, this person and that person, you can say all you want. There is never a second number one. Not that those individuals are not appreciated, not that they didn't do a great thing, but I repeat, there's never a second number one. So Sheriff Whitehorn is our first African-American sheriff in Caddo Parish after what, 100 how many years?
186.
186. So guys, if you will, welcome Sheriff Henry Whitehorn.
Thank you, Brother Melvin. You know, I didn't know I was going to have to get up and say anything. When I looked at my calendar yesterday, I saw I had 2 events on the calendar, and I knew I had to come and see the folks that supported me during that time when I was running for sheriff. And Melvin and his lovely wife was there with me step by step. And so I just appreciate everything that they did to help me. But before I get started, I always have to acknowledge my faith in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Without his grace and mercy, I wouldn't be who I am or what I am. And so, you know, I look around the room and I notice the Men's Day program, and I didn't prepare anything to say. I can't eat. And then leave here, Pastor, and go to the next function and share some time with them and then go on home. But as I look out, I think about us men and, you know, the importance importance of a man in the home and in families and doing things that we know we're supposed to do and looking out for one another. You know, we don't do enough of that either. But, you know, and I see these young children in the back, and I think about them and all that's going on in our communities and in the world these days. And, you know, we talk about how we came up and the things that we did. You know, we all made some mistakes. But the consequences of the choices we made back then is not the same as the consequences of a minor mistake today.
Yes, sir.
And so we have to be mindful and look out for our children. We can tell them all we want to tell them. We can tell them this is what you ought to do, this is how you need to do it. But they're not looking for, to us men, for words. They're looking for an example. And they follow examples. They're not going to follow the words. You can tell them all the stuff you want to tell them, but if they don't see you doing it, they're not going to do it. And so our children need examples. They need mentors. They need folks that they can look up to, that look like them. That look like them.
Yes, sir.
That they can follow. And so that's what I try to do. I try to, and throughout this community, I try to be the example in doing things right, doing it the right way for the right reasons. And so I just want to thank y'all this morning for allowing me. You know, we talk about what's going on in D.C. and Baton Rouge. We got some things going on right here in Carroll Parish.
Yes, sir.
And we got some elections coming up. Some very important elections. And we know that one vote does matter.
Absolutely.
Your voice matters. That one vote won an election for me. They didn't like it. So we did a recount. They thought, well, somebody didn't count the numbers right. So we did a recount. Guess what? We won by one vote again.
All right.
Then they took me to court because they didn't like it. Court threw the election out. So y'all got to do this thing all over again.
Okay.
When we did that,
Recording in progress.
did I do that?
No, sir, that's
Okay.
sorry.
When they threw that election out, y'all got mad.
Yeah, we did.
This became personal
Yes, we
to a
did.
lot of you.
Yes.
I want this personal feeling to continue
Yes, sir.
in all that we do because it is personal to us. And when we took it personal, guess what? We won by 4,265 votes. So this is personal to me. We got the DA's election coming up. We got other elections coming up. We got the mayor's race coming up. Folks, we got to do our part. And we got to set the example for these young folks in the back. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have for you, we have some short videos that we'll be showing, and we have some entertainment that we'll be sharing as well with Dr. Larry Cannell, former 30 years
Yes, sir.
band director at Grambling.
43 years.
43 years old, okay. And yesterday, Dr. Cannell and I we picked up what about 50-year pin from
Yes,
Tech
sir. Yes, sir.
for being graduates. Now you know how old I am, Dr. Cannell. Don't tell my age.
All right.
If we pick up a 50-year pin, graduated from college, you know how old we are. But Sheriff, let me say another thing with these guys about, being a first. We have a group that's joined us today from Tyler, Texas, who have a first in their town. They may or may not know this. There's a young man there that works at Tyler High School. Name is Donnie Little. Donnie Little was playing in Dickinson, Texas. I was not his position coach, but he's the first African American quarterback to play at the University of Texas. He's the first African American quarterback to start at the University of Texas, and he had them rated number 5 in the nation at one time, like 1978, 1979, etc. Then, of course, that old wide receiver bug that our less melanated brothers like to use when the black quarterbacks are doing too well. Now you take a man that had to be number 5 in the country, he doesn't have a great game, all of a sudden he's a wide receiver. So I just wanted you guys to know that in the time of Tyler, now I know everybody loves Earl, and Earl is a Tyler icon, but you also have a young man that's working at your high school in your athletic department by the name of Donnie Little. And so I just wanted to share that. Now, as we move forward, we have, as I said, on our Zoom, we have several of our guests. I don't see, Elder, I may need your help. Oh, we already at Zoom here, but I think we're good right now. But I'm waiting on them. I'm waiting on them to come in. But while we're waiting on them to come in, Brother Larry Anderson. Now, guys, I got to tell you about Larry. Give me a second. Larry and I was on the same football team, Louisiana Tech. Larry is getting ready. He's got to go down to Tech tonight for a Hall of Fame celebration, of which he's already in. But I hope you don't mind me telling his business. Now, because it's a good story. You come to Louisiana Tech as a walk-on. You leave Louisiana Tech as a draft choice. You pick up, 2 Super Bowl rings with the Steelers? You pick up 2 Super Bowl rings with the Pittsburgh Steelers after playing 7 years. Then you return back to Tech as a Louisiana Tech Hall of Famer. Now, how good is that?
Great.
And he was administrator here in Capital Parish. How long, Larry? 31 years. So which means what? He also has a degree, which is the last point I want to make before he and Dr. Pennell come up. Because our young people need to understand very simply, all of this foolishness you see and you keep hearing about chasing footballs, chasing basketball, all that's good, all that's fun, and all of us arguing, not us, because I don't even get into that, about who's the better player, LeBron James or Michael Jordan, all this stuff. That's insignificant. Nobody's going to get a dime.
All right.
Nobody's going to get a dime from worrying about who is the number 1 player, even though at that time I was working in Cleveland, and my wife and I, LeBron James grew up right before our face at his high school in Akron. So I'm making that point simply because we seem to forget the importance of academics. That's what we want to push. As part of Ministry to Men. We want to push academics. And we can only push academics if we take time to do some thinking and some reading and some paying attention ourselves, which is some things we're going to talk about this morning. The 2 main things we're going to talk about, first of all, is when our less melanated brothers and sisters try to say that the Bible supports slavery. We have research information we're going to share with you today, not so. Talk about people translation and how they try to interpret stuff and all of that. In the first the words SLAV is actually, but anyway, I got all that for you. We're going to talk about that because our children need to know. And you actually were prisoners of wars. That's the way it started out. So we need to get that correct in their heads because they really think that they originated from slavery. Secondly, all of this talk about whiteness. Keep the name in your head, Carl Linnaeus. That's who started all that foolishness way back in the 1600s, 1681 to be exact. Started trying to break people down in certain categories. So your less melanated brothers and sisters joined in swooped in this movement and trying to say that they are God's chosen because they're white. There's no such thing. That's all made up. And we have that research information for you as well. So when we talk about black history, as much, I don't see Ms. Peak on here, but as much as I love Ms. Rosa Parks, I was the director of the Raymond Rosa Parks Institute for Self-Development in West Michigan. So I know them personally, worked with them, love Mrs. Parks. Much as I love Dr. King, but my mindset was more Malcolm. Because if you swing on me, we got to have a fight. Sorry. I'm sorry. All of this bow my head and yappy. My mother is going to sleep. My wife can tell you, she was telling my wife, that boy, when I was a kid, she used to always tell me, you gonna wind up like Emmett Till. I said, I just have to wind up like him, because I ain't having it. And so, Larry, which is what got me run off the football team at Tech, by the way. So anyway, guys, as we move the process forward, Dr. Larry Pannell and my friend, brother, well, both of them my friends, actually, Larry's going to share some Negro spiritual with us just to stay in the right spirit. Gentlemen?
In the text that we received from my dear classmate, and I do want to say, I shouldn't even talk about that. You just had cooled me down. But he made a statement, sometimes your own people bring you down. Man, I was a bookworm. I come out of Grambling in 23. The doors weren't open at Louisiana Tech, so I was able to go in there. The orchestra teacher was white, and her husband was the orchestra teacher at Tech, orchestra teacher at Grambling. She said, you need to get some blacks over there. I got a sharp little guy over there. I went over to Tech and walked out of there when I was 25 years old. And then I went to American Conservatory of Music in Chicago, Illinois. It's Bert Eaton White, bass player with Earth, Wind & Fire. That's his undergraduate from there. School was 109 years old in 1994. You say, what is boy going with this? I'm not a preacher, it's a sermon, I got to miss. But when I graduated from there in 94, I was 36. I'm 74, going on 75. Then they had to put in that big old paper in Chicago. The first African American to receive the terminal degree from the American Conservatory of Music will be awarded in May. And that was me. Many had gone undergraduate in their master's. But what they said about you, Mr. Why not? This is what I'm saying right here. Many may come after you, but none before. And that's the situation here at the American Conservatory of Music. Many may come after me and get that degree, but none before. I was the first. And why he made a statement that pushed me back on this ugly way when you had cooled me down. When he said, some of our own people bring us down. Yes. And when he said that, I couldn't even eat my food. I just quit. I get up this morning. I don't have Facebook. No emails or nothing. Grandma got a game there today. Everybody is tearing me up around. He's standing up here on Facebook with a blue suit and a red tie. That's my alma mater. And 2 years earlier, 2023, y'all brought me back from 50 years from be there. Tech didn't say nothing about that. And they didn't have no masters then. But it just looked like when I should be lifted up by my people. Yeah. I'm being drawn down there. But too much is given, much is required. I don't know about that. So I didn't want to go down that road, but I do want to know, if you look at that picture, she has it, it's white. That whole class up there yesterday of 1975, Melvin and I looked like a fly in some buttermilk. There wasn't but two blacks, am I? All right. All righty, so you should be proud, you know, we helped open up the doors for certain others. And myself, I was a Malcolm X. And now, in his text he sent me, Larry was out of the country. He said he wanted to do a Negro spiritual and give you the history of it. And so let me get to the history. I'm sorry I had to take it down. I was mad. Y'all pray for me. That's how and you might hear it come out of that saxophone. He playing like he mad today. But back to what I want to say is, 16th century is Baroque in music. 17th century is what we call classical. Then you get to 18th century, that's Romantic period. And when you get to the 19th century, that's contemporary music, music up to date. And copyright laws were in place in the 16th century, but we actually didn't get the federal copyright laws in place until 1972. America made you come out. You can join BMI or ASCAP, the two music where you can publish your music at ASCAP, and many of them know what I'm talking about. You can join one of the two. I'm with ASCAP, but there's something after music was not. The laws were in place to copyright things. We had what we call music in public domain. and I'm giving you the history. Public domain means the copyright laws weren't there, so when the song was written, anybody can do it now and don't have to worry about paying that artist. And this song we're gonna do is called Sooner We'll Be Done with the Troubles of the World. I'm going home to deal with God. Well, James Cleveland put it out, but it wasn't copyrighted. Then we have William Dawson, who was a well-known gospel composer, black composer, and he was out of Tuskegee, Alabama. And then Mahalia Jackson just knocked this song off of the map when she performed it, and I think many of the kids' parents need to go back and put up old movies. Imitation of Life. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of you. That was a tearjerker at the end.
Yeah.
White girl, black girl trying to pass for white.
Mm-hmm.
Our Plessy versus Ferguson was a guy that was black trying to ride that train, playing as if he was white. They gave us a separate but equal. But in the movie, at the end, she's coming with her mama laying up in the coffin dead, and you're crying, Mama, I'm sorry. She couldn't hear that then. And I saw the movie probably when I was in 61. I was 7th grade. I would cry every time I see that section. But Mahalia Jackson knocked it out, knocked the ball out of the park with this song. So there's your history. And we will do Sooner We'll Be Done with the Troubles of the World.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I've got to that point where some say it's probably due to all the hits in the head, but I have to look at it. I can't remember. It's a simple song, but it speaks volumes. And so we were asked to do this. Dr. done his part. I'm going to try not to hurt your ears too bad. And we'll try to get it taken care of. As he mentioned, when Sister Mahalia did this song, I was a little bitty boy too. But I enjoyed it, I cried, I did all of it. And so hopefully, when I attempt to do it, you won't necessarily cry from my voice, but maybe it might bring back some memories of what you were doing during this time when she so eloquently did this song.
I left out something very important since we're in Louisiana. Mahalia Jackson is a New Orleans lady, born and raised in New Orleans, so I don't want to take that credit away from her. And to my Marshall, Texas guy, one day we're going to talk. I got some stories.
Tired.
Tired. Oh, I thought y'all were so y'all off the bat now. Y'all off the hook. All right, we're going to go with it.
With the troubles of the world, and troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Soon it will be done with the troubles of the world. Going home to leave with God. No more weeping and no wailing. No more weeping and no wailing. no more weeping and unwilling, going home to live with my Lord. Soon it will be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Soon it will be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with my Lord.
Who you wanna see, Coach? Who you wanna see?
I want to see my mother. I want to see my mother. Said I want to see my mother going home to live with God. Going home to live with God.
All right. Good job.
Right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. We, right now, I'm looking at the screen because today we have some special guests, that's gonna be here with us on, can you put it on there, bigger? Now,
Start talking and shit.
this is the technician. All I'm doing is just holding this mic and running my mouth. This is the technician right here. But I see Mrs. Ella McCall is here, and I was saving the elder's introduction for Mrs. Peak, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But Mrs. Ella McCall, that's here right now, was the childhood neighbor of Carter G. Woodson.
All right.
And who in the room heard of Carter G. Woodson? Okay. She's kind enough to come on and to give you a little history, a little personal history. Most of us, if we admit it, when we read things or we see things on YouTube or whatever, we never get to talk to the original people. Well, we've been blessed to have the original people. And Ms. Ella McCall, she will tell you about that. She did a piece for the New York Times in February about Carter G. Woodson. And the next person will be Mrs. Anita Peak, and that's why I was saying now elder, because you guys may not know this, but he was a B-52 bomber pilot.
Yes.
Another history. And Mrs. Peak is the daughter of a Tuskegee Airman. Elder has had an opportunity to meet them, etc. So that's why I was kind of waiting on Elder's part when Ms. Peak come to talk about her dad, and she'll be 5-10 minutes. And the next person, if he gets on, will be Selwyn Jones. Most of you have heard of the tragedy with George Perry Floyd.
Yes.
Okay, Selwyn is the uncle of George Perry Floyd, and he is just as advocate. He's been working with a lot of the legislature, etc., trying to get the George Floyd bill passed. So he is scheduled to be on with us as well. Another person, most of you have heard of Madam C.J. Walker.
Yes, yes.
But what you haven't, that's why we get cheated in history. What you haven't, the person you didn't hear about is Annie Malone. Madam C.J. Walker was an understudy of Anna Malone. Madam C.J. Walker was not the first African-American woman millionaire. It was Anna Malone. So we have a young lady that's going to come on, that's Chantel Overton. Chantel Overton not only have a connection with Anna Malone, but also most of us have heard about the Wall Street Massacre, Black Wall Street Massacre. Her uncle, John Overton, was one of the first black bankers in Wall Street. So you have original people that have direct connections with all of these historical accounts that's happening. And that's why I constantly say to us is that when we educate ourselves, we know who we are. Now, we say we believe in the Bible. We say we believe in Genesis when God said, let there be light. We say we believe that when he said God has no respect of person, but we don't act like it. Because everything somebody else tells us about ourselves, we believe it. That's the darndest thing I've ever seen. No matter how much proof you have, and by the way, I call quote white people, unquote, my less melanated brothers and sisters. All the less melanated person have to do is tell you something, and there we go. And I don't even want to get started on these so-called conservative brothers. Do you even, okay, that sounds negative. But they need to understand what conservative means to your less melanated brother. It's not the same as what it means to you. Right. And they don't get that. Right. And these people jumping on talking about this MAGA. Okay. It ain't time for that,
The Malcolm X coming out.
Yeah, Malcolm X coming out right now. But anyway, make a long story short, we just kind of want to share that. The last person actually is one of the CMEs. He's 90 years old. Reverend Dr. Donald Wills. Most people may not be familiar with his, also known as Don Cincone. Now, Don Cincone is a world-renowned artist. And if you've seen the movie, what's that movie? The Art of Love with Dick Van Dyke, which they say is a classic. All of the paintings, all of the drawings in that movie is from Don Cincone. Not from any of those people that have credits on the movie. So that's why I started off by saying when we talked about our purpose, was that when we talk about black history, there a lot of things we don't get because it's not in the textbooks, and nobody teaches those things to us. So you can't find what you're not looking for because you don't know to look for. It's just that simple. And the part of Malcolm X now, Brother Payne, that's going to come out of me, I have a letter also that you're welcome to just look at, is I was commissioned to do some DEI trainings in North Carolina Naval Base, and this letter came out to all of the military people that came from your president, that all the black people talk about, all these black MAGA people, I'll read it to you, but threatening them, holding funds back, etc. And Sweetie wasn't happy about that. So and I won't brag, but it was going to be a nice piece of little change that we were going to make to do that training. And we could not do that training because of your president. And when you see what the letter is saying, then you'll see that. Not only at that site, but there were several more. So when we talk about black history, then we need to really know what's really affect people that look like you and me. We really do. Because people keep trying to defend, in which I can understand, under the Stevens syndrome. We all understand that's not every quote white person. We all understand that there would be no underground railroad without white. We understand that. But we cannot learn black history because we spend all our time trying to defend white people. They don't need you to defend them. They had 400 years at this thing. But you live next door. You work in the same factory. You got the same job. You eat the same food. But they tell you they're superior and you believe them. I've been guilty. Whenever something negative come on the news, what's the first thing we say? Man, I hope it wasn't black. I've been guilty. I still do it. You see how brainwashed we are? I'm serious. If we be honest with ourselves, you see how brainwashed we are? Just because we think, oh, they're going to think something negative about us. See how brainwashed we are? And we are in the country where they came and massacred all these people, killed all the buffaloes so that people couldn't eat, gave them measles-filled blankets, put them on the reservation, still won't let them vote. It's 2025. And we worry about impressing them. Huh? Enslaving people. And I have to laugh about that, man, because we do not know who we are. We hear people talk about all the time, we descend from kings and queens, blah, blah, and we just let that fly over our head. We know that wasn't everybody. But let's be honest. If somebody come in this room right now, the open laws included, with machine guns or whatever, and hold all of us up, and all we have is a microphone, what you gonna do? I mean, let's just be honest. You got this ignorant, here, call shit white on.
I ain't got the sin today.
And you got this ignorant Kanye West running around talking about, oh, people who did it, they could have been out of slavery a long time ago. Man, shut up. You see how we don't even think. So if you come in here with some AK-57s or whatever, what are you gonna do? Other than get your head blown off. So if you are outnumbered and you have nothing but rapes, and that's why I got a lot of video we want to show you. They're short, about how African people always rebel against slavery and that kind of thing. So if we don't know who we are, then how can we prosper? Dr. Purnell told you his story. He's not supposed to do that according to our less melanated brother. We heard about Brother Anderson's story, and I'm sure some of you in this room. He's not supposed to be able to do that according to our less melanated brother. And I see Brother Manning sitting over there. We talk about the academics and him going. I hope you don't mind mentioning Brother Manning about going to the school before he was forced to go and that kind of thing with those people. And I mean, I'll talk like them now. And you got a B-52 bomber pilot sitting over here. According to our less melanated brother, that wasn't supposed to happen. Okay? So you sitting in this room, and I'm sure some of the other guys, athletes as well, and band people, etc., had 2 athletes with degrees. Now, he actually played football in the pro level. I was just a free agent, so I got sent home. But he actually played. And I say that very honestly. So you guys have to understand, when people are trying to count you out, the only way you can be counted out is to allow yourself to be counted out. That's all you can do. 1971. Never got in trouble in high school. I'll tell you other about this. I'm sitting in Bossier City, Airline High School, and there's a base there, Marshall Air Force Base, that's still operating today. But one of our teachers, God bless her soul, Miss McAllister, decided to keep some of the black kids out of class one day and blatantly asked us, and her statement was, and I quote because I never forgot it, y'all didn't go to Charlotte Mister, did you? Now, you know why she made that statement, Elder? Because we kicking behind in the classroom. So that wasn't supposed to happen, according to them. And that just kind of got me the wrong way, Elder. I'll be honest. And in the old days, I used to talk back to the adults. So that day I didn't. I just bided my time. But they kept eating. And she kept ignoring me. So finally she said, what you want, Melvin? I said, where are all these smart people I've been hearing about? Look, she turned purple. It didn't buzz her, said I was disturbing her class, and thank God it was football season, Larry. They hauled me out to the office, suspended me for 3 days, but Coach Stewart said, no, hey man, you come back in the morning. But you go in that class and you shut your mouth. So I'm just saying to you is that when we start to realize who we really are, it's not about being better than anybody else. But we say we believe in Genesis that God said let there be light. We say we believe that he said he has no respect of a person. So what's the problem? That's all I'm asking us as we move forward, as we teach our children, as we prepare them, as we get them ready to go. What's the problem? We picked up a 50-year pen yesterday from Louisiana Tech. That wasn't supposed to happen. How do we do that? This man picked up pens, Super Bowl rings, going to Hall of Fame induction tonight. That wasn't supposed to happen. And I don't know the history of some of you sitting in this room, but I'm sure that you guys have just as equal, just even more stories to tell about that. So as we ask Mrs. Ms. Ella, I know you're tired of waiting on me. Are you there? Okay. Ms. Ella is going to speak to us about Mr. Carter G. Woodson and just share some open information with you, and then we'll move on. Now, this is Ms. Ella McCall, and she also, Ms. Ella, be sure to tell them about the group that you have in the streets that you do as well, okay? Okay.
Okay, everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I'm wearing this cap that says freedom. This is the cap that Rosa Parks wore at the Million Man March. I was one of the ones with her, and her young men that she took with her. But okay, let's talk about Dr. Woodson. When I was 7 years old, I lived across the street from Dr. Carter G. Woodson. We all had to live together back in those times, back in the 40s, as you all know. And we couldn't go downtown or go to any restaurants or anything, so everything was in the community. Dr. Woodson, we knew him as Mr. Woodson. He was the man that lived across the street. He lived in a townhouse, well, they called it a row house back there then, but he lived in a townhouse, and he had his business on one floor, and he would meet on his groups would meet on the second floor. And the last floor was where he stayed, his bedroom and everything. Dr. Woodson had so many famous people working for him. We didn't know him, we were children, you know. Mary McLeod Bethune, she was one of the ones that worked for him. And then the great poet, I can't think of his name. What's that poet? Not Dunbar, but anyway, it'll come to me. He worked.
Langston Hughes.
Huh?
Langston Hughes.
Langston Hughes, thank you. Exactly. And so you would see them back and forth, but we didn't really know them until later on. When we started going to school, especially elementary school, 4th grade, and the teacher said, we're going to have Negro History Week. And we said, oh yeah. And this is Dr. Carter G. Woodson. He is the man who founded the Black History Week. So we said, no, that ain't him, Mr. Woodson. He ain't no doctor, that's Mr. Woodson. You know, we didn't know about PhDs or anything like that. So we thought they meant a physical doctor, you know. But anyway, he was the father of the block. He was the uncle. He was the grandfather. You know, we were there mixed. We were mixed. You had everybody there, poor, rich, middle class, all living together. Black people, that's how they had us all together. But we were a village. We were a community. everybody looked out for each other. I come from a single home, you know, and there was men on the block. I remember a couple, they had about 10 children, lived right across the street from Mr. Woodson, right in front of him. And I mean, he cared about all of the kids on the block. He wanted and when we started becoming teenagers, that's when, you know, he wanted the books and his pamphlets and all of that. We could go in his office, and they would give us a booklet or let us read it. And the teachers would come and get all that information he wanted him to have. And then he had meetings there. He has an organization now, I guess you all know. He has an organization. The DC Park Services, they're getting ready, they should be finished soon, making his home a museum, a national museum. So they asked me, it's been about 2 years ago now, it was 2003. They asked me to do a walk around the block. So they documented it. I'll be naming all the different places in that neighborhood. One was, of course, Shiloh Baptist Church, who's a historical church. That's the church he went to. And we did too. Everybody could go to that church, could join. And it was just so interesting. I remember everything on that block and spelled it out. So when the museum opened, and some of you all come and, you know, go and see learn about him. Hopefully you'll see the documentary. Year before last, the New York Times did an article about Dr. Thomas G. Woodson and his property and the different things. And I was asked to be a part of it. So it was an honor and a pleasure to be a part of that great you know what I'm trying to say, history, that great history. Dr. Woodson died when I was 14 years old. And I can remember the kids in the neighborhood, because like I say, used to give candy, used to care about us. We all stood across the street. My house faced Shiloh Baptist Church. I was right in front of it, my apartment. And we stood there crying because we could not believe that he was gone. And like I said, like he went upstairs and he didn't come back. So I think about him. I dropped out of school, and later in life, I was given a second chance. I got an education through a man called Marion Barry. He sent a group of us to college. So I ended up with a Bachelor of Science degree and a Master's degree in social work. So I've been doing that for so many years. And I have a whole program dealing with that. Also, we have work with kids. We have a program that, it's not a program, it's an art exhibit. I had a whole art exhibit of Rosa Parks. I was with her, I had the pleasure and the honor of serving her for 15 years of her life. And I worked with Miss Elaine Steele, who took care of her for 46 years. And they asked me to, when they came to Washington, they asked me to be involved, to help, and I did that. And it was it was a blessing. And I have a chapter, we have a Rosa Parks youth chapter, Pathways to Freedom. And we traveled with her, we did so many other things. I just had to put that in there. Wasn't trying to take all your time up, Dr. Laws, but I just wanted to let you. Oh, and one of the things for the young men, Miss Parks loves sports. And the teams in Detroit had honored her. The Lions and the baseball team and the basketball team, Pistons, they had honored her. And her favorite baseball player was, Kurt Flood. And she was able to autograph a Kurt Flood ball. he saw her and he wanted to autograph. So that's a part of history. So that's my story, and I'm sticking by it.
Anybody have any quick questions for Ms. Ella? Can we take one question or so? Okay, Ms. Ella, you did an excellent job. Thank you very much. Can
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming to help us out.
Okay.
Miss Chantel Overton, I think I see you sitting over there. How you doing, dear?
I'm good. You didn't tell me Miss Hagan was gonna be a part of this. I have known who you are since a little girl. Thank you for your service, ma'am.
Fantastic.
I'm telling you, I would love to sit and really talk to you. I have watched you on television with Ms. Parks. I know about your community service, with the youth. Thank you.
Oh, no. So please get my number from Dr. Laws, please. Let's talk. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wow.
And because the reason I knew Langston Hughes, he's a distant cousin of mine. So when you went to said, and he worked for, Dr. Porter, G. Woodson.
You sure did. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
You didn't get to remind me, girl. I'm getting old now.
That's okay. I am sitting amongst a legend. Thank you. I so appreciate the history that you have preserved and the community service that you've done. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you again, Ms. Ella. Miss Chantel Overton will talk with us a little bit about Miss Annie Malone and your cousin with the Wall Street Bank, etc. And guys, let me give you a little background on Miss Chantel as well. She was an NFL photographer, so she got to know a lot of the big boys and taking pictures and all that kind of stuff. And she has a wealth of history herself. She's the president of the Overton family group, and Ms. Chantel, I don't know if you want me to tell this now, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. You know, like with a lot of families in the South, they're the white Overtons and then they're the black Overtons. And so it's a lot of things going on with that as well. They go around and they go to different states, etc., and put on exhibits about black history and things of that nature. So, Ms. Overton, I'm gonna shut my mouth and fire away.
All right, thank you. I'm honored to speak today and definitely to share the stage with icons like Mrs. Hagan. I can't take all of the credit. What I can say is that my family well prepared me from a very little girl. I am an entrepreneur, I'm a historian, and I am a love of just everything history in my people. My uncle is who founded Overton Nation, our family organization. He was the one that decided that he was going to take all of these artifacts and information that he had from our grandparents, which is my great-great-grandparents. And I was blessed enough to see my great-great-grandmother. She lived to be 107 years old. And we had another family member, which a lot of you guys may know. His name is Richard Arvin Overton. Obama honored him not once but twice, and he lived to be 100. I think Cousin Richard lived to be 112 or 113. Can't remember, but he resided in Austin, Texas. But my connection with the very amazing Annie Malone is through my cousin Anthony Overton. And Anthony Overton, he was the first Black-owned national charter bank. You have to say that, national charter, because he was not the first chartered Black-owned charter bank, but he was the first national charter bank. And it was really amazing because he had named the bank in honor of Frederick Douglass, and it set in Chicago, Illinois. And that building, the Overton Hygienic Building, is still there. So he had mentored Annie, which in turn Annie Malone mentored a woman named Sarah Breedlove, which is actually Madam C.J. Walker. And most people tend to not speak their names because the history books kind of just left them out, which is where we come in as family. That is why it is so important about community. It is so important to sit at the elders' feet and to hear the oral history and to continue to pass it down. I mean, we are still living, breathing, and even doing like it's in our DNA. When you go back to Africa, you'll hear of the griot. Those are the oral history historians, and no one really wrote anything down. They sat the young ones at their knees, at their sides, and they told them the stories, and then it was to be passed on and passed on and passed on. Well, now we have an amazing way of capturing all of that, and so the first thing I tell people is that know who you are, because then you'll know your worth.
Yeah.
You won't be able to allow someone to shape you or tell you who you are. When I come into a room, I immediately know exactly who I am. And I remember, as a little girl, I was born and raised in East St. Louis. And I have amazing family members. So I literally lived around the corner from the Catherine Dunham Museum. And I have two godfathers. I won't tell you who one of them is, but one of my godfathers was Catherine Dunham's protege. And he traveled the world teaching her techniques. So my godfather decided that he wanted me to learn her technique, but he wouldn't teach me, so he put me in his friend's class. But I would literally walk around the corner to the museum to take classes. And one day, during my career, I had a magazine that I had with a friend of mine. I was co-owner. And Miss Catherine Dunham was getting ill, and so we went to interview her. Her and me, myself, and our writer, James Ingram. He's a very world-renowned writer. And when I walked in and I introduced myself, she rose up and looked at me and she says, "I know you." And I said, "Yes, ma'am. I used to take classes." She said, "No, I know your family. Do you know who you are?" And I was like, at the time, I had not gotten so deeply involved with my family history. I knew it, but I wasn't quite understanding where she was coming from. And she says, "You go home and you learn who you are, and you don't ever forget it." So I often, when I speak, I tell people, don't just focus on these national known individuals, but you'll be amazed at what your family members had made an impact. Because these people are standing on the shoulders of those that were there to assist them. Just like a lot of people may not, like myself, I've heard of Miss Hagan, but you may not have heard of her, but Miss Parks wouldn't have been able to do what she did without a Miss Hagan. So her name has to be spoken in the same circles and in that same history book as the rest of those that we know on a national level. And I always tell people, our ancestors never die as long as we continue to speak their name, but they die to deaths the minute we stop speaking their names. So I am huge on going to cemeteries and jotting down and knowing where our ancestors are laid to rest, knowing, where they made their impact, knowing their names. So I would, and well, you guys, make for sure, first and foremost, make community first. We, back in the 1800s, coming out of enslavement, because we were never slaves, we were enslaved. See, they went and got intelligent people. They went and got those that made, the world work and created civilization. See, that's who they went and captured and brought over and enslaved. So they were enslaved. So after enslavement into the Reconstruction era, which is the only era, if you know history, is the only era that America almost got it right. Within that, that's where you get my cousin, grandfather, Charles Henry Langston, and his uncle, John Mercer Langston, who was a representative, that they were building laws of equality, not just for blacks, but for everyone, but never forget to take care of home first. So you build that community, so then you can build out. Then, the old saying, because I have a background in medicine as well. I'm pre-med, and the first thing I tell people, you're not with them, can't take care of nobody else. So if we don't heal from, as Dr. Joyce say, post-traumatic slave syndrome, and heal our communities first, how do we expect anybody else to even remotely think or feel that our communities are important? No, you take care of home first. We're the economic floor of this country. Those are, in all 4 degrees I have, I studied mathematics and sociology and psychology extensively. So numbers are exact. You cannot, 2 plus 2 is always 4. I don't care if you stack it, I don't care if you put it side by side, you can even slant it. It is still 4. So when you want to talk about actual facts, then get the statistics. Just like now, they're gonna learn 78% of the people who are on welfare, who they said were the welfare queens, did not look like us. Did not look like us. That's facts. So when you see that, and you look back and get the blueprints from those that came before us, then you know, okay, if I'm the economic floor, but I'm only like 18% of this country, but I outspend everyone else. It's not that we broke, it's that we're not utilizing our funds in the correct way. So first and foremost, you have to be about our community, then you have to speak your history. I get so tired of people saying, I'm tired of hearing about slavery. I'm like, that is a part of your DNA, that is a part of your history. I am tired of hearing about the civil rights movement. The reason you're tired of hearing it is because you keep reliving history because you don't know it. So the minute that you learn it and you embed it, then you will not live it. And I can tell you that as a personal experience, because I went to a Catholic school and then was transferred to a predominantly white school. I always tell people, they had the Little Rock 9, we had the Collinsville 10. But because I knew who I was when I entered that school, and could have graduated the moment I went there, but I knew why it was holding me back for 2 reasons. I'm a black woman, and you get paid for me being in school. The knowledge is power. But I never allowed them to define me, to the point that if you go and pull Collinsville records back in the early 90s, you'll see me in the newspaper. We danced the real dance, but I made them respect everything about us. Now I don't know what you're telling your kids behind these closed doors, and I don't care. But you won't respect what my ancestors have done. Because we pay tax dollars. See, that's when you gotta get also into the civil part. See that there? When you understand history, you understand what's going on and it's strategically being done. Why don't they really teach civics? Why is everybody going to the president? The president doesn't make any laws. But the House and Senate do. So while everybody was focused on the presidency, there was 400 and some odd seats up in the House and Senate that we should have been focused on. Not only that, in the House.gov and Senate.gov, you can actually see how they vote. It's called a report card. So I don't care, I often when I speak, I tell people, I don't care about a donkey or elephant, I don't care about red or blue, to me it's all Crips and Bloods. So due to the fact that I don't support gangs, I wanna know what you did on that floor. I wanna know how you actually voted. I don't care what color you wear. And my grandma used to always say, when we come in the house, like, well, Grandma, I didn't do, she's talking about your mom cut just like hers, how am I supposed to believe you? better know theirs.
I'll try to send
So
you.
that's all I have to say. Hi, Selma. Me and you share a person, near and dear. My sister is Dr. Morty K. Casey.
Okay, guys.
Yes.
No, 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 no.
Get him going.
Don't you tell me that.
Yes, sir.
That's my girl. That's my girl with a little short step. I can see the resemblance now. Where are you at? Where are you out of?
St. Louis, I mean,
Okay, well, how did I met you?
the last time you guys, well, first of all, the last time.
Okay, guys.
I was at,
Hey, guys, can you guys excuse me a minute? Chantel.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry,
Chantel,
ma'am.
can you excuse me a minute? I love the family reunion, but right now we have a group of people waiting to hear from Uncle Sel.
Okay. Let me go from there.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is this kind of over here is Uncle Selwyn Jones. He's the uncle of George Perry Floyd. He's an activist, and obviously, he's a dad, etc. He's been doing a lot of work, a lot of fighting, trying to get some things done, and he's just going to share with us some of the work he's doing and about the justice for George, etc. Uncle Selwyn, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. It's just snowing out here in South Dakota, so, black men are trying to stay warm and strong as always.
I heard that.
Uh,
Well, listen, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up and go right ahead, brother.
Okay. I'm Sheldon Jones, and pretty much what I do, pretty much what my mission is to have people's back, because there's a lot of people in this world that don't have people to fight for them, that don't have people that just literally care about them. And there's a lot of people that don't care about us because of one's color of one's skin, which is absolutely asinine to me, but that situation going on for 500-600 years. So I like to align myself with people that feel the same way I feel, think the same way, and want to create change. And I'm gonna back up here for a second. Miss Marty J. Casey is one of those people that I met years back, along with Melvin Large. And these are peacemakers. These are people that have been fighting this good fight and fighting this battle for a plethora of years. And obviously I'm the nephew of George Perry Floyd Jr. And this fight came to me 5.5 years ago. I've always been a proud black man. I've always been a proud father. I've always been a proud man. So, I didn't fall into the system per se. Because you can't disrespect me or shame me or humiliate me and think that's okay because it's okay. And what I mean by that is the system that was created to oppress us. It was created to put us in places before we even got there. And what I mean by that is, because of one's color, one's skin, we've always had that past that we're not as good, we're not as smart, we don't have the same drive, which is an absolute lie. Racism is taught, just like every other bad habit that we have. And the problem with that bad habit is it's been taught for hundreds of years. So you align yourself with great people like yourself for us to fight this battle. And like I was saying, my battle didn't come until May 26th of 2025. May 26th of 2020. I was sitting in my living room watching television, and all I did was wake up that day. Like the Lord has blessed me for the last 59 years. But on this particular day I woke up, I started gazing at the television, and I'm seeing another black man, a man of color, getting put in the situation that we've seen so many times throughout our life. And the difference between that day and any other day is that guy that I was watching getting tortured with my nephew was literally my big sister's baby boy. And that put me in a fight of freedom situation is what I basically call it, because ever since that day, I've had a new dedication to who I am, to what the world looks like to me. And I've been fighting for change ever since then. We have a foundation that fights domestic violence, police brutality, gun violence, missing people, you name it. I want to be that beacon of light for people. I want to make that change that we need. And I want to gather with a lot of beautiful people like Marty J. Casey and a plethora of other people that I know. Nababo Mandela is a friend of mine, Nelson Mandela's grandson. And we're all fighting together. And you know, and I appreciate Melvin giving me an opportunity to come and shout out and holler. But Marty Casey's sister, we gotta talk, because I got some secrets to tell you. Yeah.
Thank you, my brother. I will definitely be in touch. Okay, guys, stick with us if you have anything else to do. We're still waiting on Mrs. Peak, who's trying to get in, and we're still waiting on Don Cincone. I keep texting him the site, but he and his person are having difficulty trying to hone in. So while we're waiting on them, I will not stop. I know it's going to be time for us to go in a minute. Well, it's not 12, but I don't want to bore you to keep going over and over. So if you need to take a break or something real quickly, because they're only going to talk like 5. I asked them to go like maybe 5, 7, 8 minutes. So if you want to take a quick break, and Ms. Peak should be coming on momentarily, and she's going to be talking about Tuskegee Airmen, and then Dr. Will, we're going to move forward. Thank everybody. I want to make sure before you guys, if you guys have not signed in, please sign in. Mr. Gill, if you don't mind, I had your young men passing the sign-in paper around.
Yes, sir.
We here. Have to make sure they pass it. Paper around, please, sir.
Hey. You know the sign-in sheet.
Appreciate you guys coming. Okay, you know what? Nice to meet you. You guys just getting ready to leave. We appreciate you. Oh, good. I want to reach you guys. This letter from your president. Oh, I want to hear. Okay. Sparks. Actually, I was going to ask you to put your foot acting on it. Pull your chair. Pull your chair up here. Yeah, pull your chair up here. And if you can read this letter. stick in the water. Yeah. The next deep. Yes, sir. I just resent another one. It had, I sent it from Miss Anita. Yes. I just sent another.
It's gonna take some time to recover.
Yes, sir.
It'll take some time.
gentlemen, we know you want to get out of here, so if we can reassemble, and we're going to share this letter with you that came from your favorite person at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And we also have a letter that we're going to share with you that Mrs. Rosa Parks wrote to the Supreme Court at the beginning when they were going to select St. Thomas. And so you see how that turned out. So she was against it, and she was letting the selection committee know it. And but she wrote so we have an authentic copy of that as well as an authentic copy. And Mr. Gilmore will share that. I know you guys tired of hearing me. Mr. Gilmore gonna share that for you. Yeah, we'll get out of your way, sir. Hold on, I want to video. So I put you on video. So, you get your coffee.
Yes, here's the letter dated September the 4th, 2020. It's a memorandum for the heads of the executive departments and agencies. It's from the director, Russell Vaught. The subject is training in the federal government. It has come to the president's attention that executive branch agencies have spent millions of taxpayer dollars to date training government workers to believe divisive, anti-American propaganda. For example, according to press reports, employees across the executive branch have been required to attend trainings where they are told that virtually all white people contribute to racism, or where they are required to say that they benefit from racism. According to press reports, in some cases, these trainings have further claimed that there is racism embedded in the belief that America is the land of opportunity, or the belief that the most qualified person should receive a job. These types of trainings not only run counter to the fundamental beliefs for which our nation has stood since its inception, but they also engender division and resentment within the federal workforce. We can be proud that as an employer, the federal government has employees of all races, ethnicities, and religions. We can be proud that Americans from all over the country seek to join our workforce and dedicate themselves to public service. We can be proud of our continued efforts to welcome all individuals who seek to serve their fellow Americans as fellow employees. However, we cannot accept employees receiving training that seeks to undercut our core values as Americans and drive division within our workforce. The President has directed me to ensure that federal agencies cease and desist from using taxpayer dollars to fund these divisive, un-American propaganda training sessions. Accordingly, to that end, the Office of Management and Budget will shortly issue more detailed guidance on the implementing the President's directive. In the meantime, all agencies are directed to begin to identify all contracts or other agency spending related to any training on critical race theory, white privilege, or any other training or propaganda effort that teaches or suggests either one, that the United States is an inherently racist or equal country, or that two, any race or ethnicity is inherently racist or evil. In addition, all agencies should begin to identify all available avenues within the law to cancel any such contracts and or to divert federal dollars away from these un-American propaganda training sessions. The President and his administration are fully committed to the fair and equal treatment of all individuals in the United States. The President has a proven track record of standing for those whose voice has long been ignored and who failed to benefit from all our country has to offer. And he intends to continue to support all Americans, regardless of race, religion, or creed. The divisive, false, and demeaning propaganda of the critical race theory is contrary to all we stand for as Americans and should have no place in the federal government. And that was the letter dated September the 4th. And like I said, the subject is just training in the federal government. But if you read between the lines, all I hear is a hit dog will holler. This is the second letter from, actually written by Mrs. Rosa Parks. And it's a statement of Mrs. Rosa Parks on the nomination of Judge Clarence Thomas to the United States Supreme Court dated September 13, 1991. Without a doubt, Judge Thomas has achieved a remarkable success in his career, raising himself up from humble beginnings to the nomination for the highest court in the land. That is truly his great credit, and I applaud him for it. Yet I have to believe that his confirmation to this highest court in the land will not represent a step forward in the road to racial progress, but a U-turn on that road. The record and rhetoric of this man leaves me little confidence that his confirmation would in any way help address the profound racial problems and divisions that drag our country down. His statements on the Brown versus Board of Education case, on affirmative action, and even on the Roe versus Wade, to me indicate that he wants to push the clock back. African Americans, I believe, want to have the confidence in the promise of the courts. We want to believe that they are a place we can turn for the redress of the racial discrimination and many deprivations that still clearly rampant in our country. The Supreme Court decision in the Brown versus Board of Education instilled in us that hope nearly 40 years ago, as did many others that subsequently followed. And that was her letter to them. And this letter was dated 34 years ago. And everything she said has been to the T. And she had the foresight to that, and they still didn't listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilmer. Okay, we just wanted to share, as I said, some actual Black history with you from the real people. And that first letter was what I was talking about, that Mr. Gilmer read, was all the propaganda that was being sent out from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue the moment people started trying to teach about BBI, teach about Black history, etc. So that's why Dr. Trudell and I were laughing about, hey, Brother Grimm, how you doing? But Pastor Grimm, I'm sorry, how you doing? Good to see you. When I was laughing about going into my Malcolm X mode, is that how all of the lies that float around, and we suck that in. And we never think about the process and what's taking place, and how people are using us. And you know, in modern time, what's ironic is that it was okay as long as they kept floating the lie about SNAP and Black people being the larger recipients of SNAP. But the minute your less melanated brothers start complaining, all of a sudden, then now the Supreme Court can say, well, no, Trump, you can't do that. But you still gonna have people look like you and me, arguing for the man that's 60. I can't get it. I am saying, I'm going on public record right now, Elder. I need some of y'all to help me, because I just cannot understand. You know, it's like somebody keep punching you in the face, and you say, punch me again, in the same spot. Don't change spots. Punch me again. That's what is happening up here to us too many times. And we've been conditioned over and over and over and over. Now, Mrs. Pick is trying to get in, and I'm going to have to, Elder, can you help me just for a second? I need to go back. Dr. Doc keeps saying he can't get in. Dr. Wills keeps, if I can go back to my board. If you guys give me 1 second, please. Yeah, I'm just going to go back and send him to him. I need to go through. I need to copy. I need to copy the invites for the other meeting. I need to copy it, then I need to send it to Doc again. He keeps saying he can't get it. You're going to send it to him. Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna, I had some short videos we wanted to show, but Ms. Peak is coming, and we want to talk about the Tuskegee Airmen, right quick. And as I said, some of you may not know, but Elder Samuel McKenzie here is a B-52 bomber pilot himself. And a lot of people are not aware of that. And this young brother happened to be a homeboy. But he's our spiritual boss, and he works with us on that. But one thing also, while we're doing that, briefly, I'll let Dr. Wills get in. I happen to bring two books with me, Project 2025 and the Negro Bible. And my question is very simple. Why do you think there was a need for a Negro Bible? Seriously. I mean, you don't have to answer out loud. And that's why I say somebody have to help me, because we keep arguing with each other about the man that's 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. What are we arguing about? We see the process, and this is not something that just started. And in Project 2025, you have an entire, and you guys can see from back where you are, explained. And yeah, this is a plug, but it's not a plug. If you go to my YouTube site, the Nobody Asked Me Guy show, we did all the work for you. We talked about the section, the page, what it was going to affect, who it was going to affect, etc. And all you have to do is go to the YouTube site, and it's all laid out right there for you. So again, and I say to Mr. Gilman, he was saying, a young man that he knows wanted to debate him about what is it he doesn't like about Donald Trump. To me, it's simple. You know, what is it you like about Donald Trump? It's real simple. Because if people are trying to destroy you, then I'm just not getting it. So don't waste your money and buy this book. I've already done it for you for free. Just go to the YouTube site, the Nobody Asked Me Guy show, and look up Project 2020. Matter of fact, Elder was there. And some of the other men. I think Brother Malachi was present with us that day, etc. And we've done the work, we already did the work for you. So as we talk about ministry to men, that's what I was sharing, not to insult anybody, is that we not only want to be very respectful and understand very clearly that this is about God, this is about the ministers and our elders and our bishops, etc. But there's other work that needs to be done as it relates to educating the masses so that we can all understand what it is we're dealing with and what's going on. Because it affects all of us. It may not affect you. In fact, everybody sitting in this room right now, if you don't get snapped, it doesn't affect you. But what about mama them? A cousin them? Auntie them? Ray them? You know, and people take stuff like that lightly, but if Ray didn't get his snap, then he hungry, and you look up and your door been kicked down, or Ray came through the window, now it concerns you, doesn't it? Or God forbid, brothers, you hold up your wife at the ATM, now Ray concerns you. So when people try to take things lightly and try to pretend that it doesn't matter and if I vote and this, that, and the third, you heard the sheriff tell you twice he won by one vote. But what sheriff is too nice to tell you is that when Trump and the boys were trying to say that Democrats were voting twice, they actually found the guy right here in Shreveport. And he admitted, because he knew nothing was going to happen to him, that was on the old sheriff's workforce that voted twice. They didn't do anything to him. They hurried up and swept it under the rug, the whole nine. So we have to be cognizant and understand whether we like it or not. You are the true Americans. I don't care what you say, I don't care how you feel about it. I'm looking at Sammy Glass, who is a dear cousin of mine, who's a retired military man, Rudy, and both of these two handsome brothers over here. So I have to tell these brothers like it is, they're my mama, sister. You have to understand is that we are affected differently. And I know some of you are war veterans, and you all know the stories. They snatching veterans off of buses, blinding them, hanging them, but you could be a Harlem Hellfighter and go over there and save their themselves, or Teddy Roosevelt could ride into the White House because of him so-called conquering San Juan Hill, but what they don't show you is that all the Buffalo soldiers that had already gone in and conquered the hill, and then Teddy and his boys come rolling up there later on, and they tell, see, we don't know who we are. So we let our less melanated brothers tell us who we are. And we try to be like them. Why are you trying to be like them? It's not anti-anybody. And I make this point starting with Melvin Law. When I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. I don't have to be anti-anybody to love myself. But that's the message that's out there. And they keep perpetrating that. That's why I wanted us to read the letter from Pennsylvania Avenue. You putting foolishness in there, they're trying to teach that all white people are bad, this, that, and the third already. You're trying to ruin something that is talking about that. Now, you're talking about we need to do away with parties. And it's a color-free society, so we don't need to be concerned. Yeah, after you have stolen everything, everything that's your advantage. This is what kills me with people that look like me. What's that kid's name? Byron? What's his name?
Byron Donald.
Byron Donald. What's the other one's name?
Candace Owens.
And the other young man over this tried to get married because he thought he was going to be part of Tim Scott.
Over the Senate. Tim Scott.
I mean, it keeps coming at us, guys. And we keep ignoring it. Our ears are lying to us, and our eyes are lying to us. We keep hearing it, we keep seeing it, and we still keep denying it. That's insane. So, it must be Doc again. He's still trying to get in, guys. Excuse me. Yes, sir. On the new one I just sent? Okay, Elder McKenzie just helped me send that over to you less than 5 minutes ago. It's fresh. I sent it. It should come from the Nobody Actually guy. It's a fresh one. All it is just hit that link and it's gonna bring you right to the show. Yes, ma'am. I sent a fresh one. Elder McKenzie just helped me send it over. As a matter of fact, he did the sending. I'm just standing here. And it should have been less than 5 minutes ago. And I sent it through the Nobody Asked Me guy. And you clicked it and you couldn't get in? Okay, well, I'm sorry. It must be something on your end. I hate to say that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. No, okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. Tell Doc we have to get him again next time. Okay. Doc, I appreciate you trying to help us out. We have to get you next time. No, I understand. Thank you, sir. Okay, guys, so speak. Survey. Would you mind watching a short clip of a movie that's 15 minutes long while we're waiting on Miss Pete, or would you just rather keep moving?
Look at the movie.
It's part of what we're talking about. It's part of what we're talking about. Now, Elder, I call myself putting these on the PowerPoint, but it won't play the movie, so I'm gonna have to go into YouTube. Yes, sir. And which one? I got it on my paper. Let me see. Give me 1 second, kind sir. Get my papers here. Let me grab my paper right quick.
they gave us credit. They always lie about us. But it's high time we set this record straight. In the early 1900s, when the world said we had no place at the table, we built our own. Black millionaires who owned banks, beauty empires, and real estate, creating wealth that shook the system.
I want to thank you all for joining me this evening. Your continued support means everything.
But history buried their names until now. Tonight, I'm revealing the forgotten black millionaires who changed the game forever. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the truth they tried to hide. Why do they always try to erase our story? We've been building empires long before they gave us credit. They always lie about us. But it's high time we set this record straight. In the early 1900s, when the world said we had no place at the table, we built our own. Black millionaires who owned banks, beauty empires, and real estate, creating wealth that shook the system.
I want to thank you all for joining me this evening. Your continued support means everything.
But history buried their names until now. Tonight, I'm revealing the forgotten black millionaires who changed the game forever. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the truth they tried to hide.
Okay, five more lies about racism. They want you to believe. Five more lies about racism. They want you to believe.
eBay 2025. Dior from eBay.
Back with the baguette.
Fendi, guaranteed authentic. Flamingos. Same.
Millions of pre-loved finds backed by authenticity guarantee. eBay. Things people love.
Why has no one ever told you that the active compound in honey can actually reverse cognitive decline and brain fog?
Anyone struggling with memory problems should try this recipe before.
You've been told racism is getting better, that we're post-racial, that slavery was centuries ago, so it doesn't matter anymore. But what if I told you that some of the most powerful systems of oppression weren't created in the 1800s? They were designed in the last 70 years. What if the stories you learned about progress were carefully crafted to hide the truth? Let me show you what they don't want you to know. Most people think the civil rights movement ended racism in America. Brown versus Board in 1954. The Civil Rights Act of 1964. The Voting Rights Act of 1965. We're taught these were the final victories. That after Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination in 1968, America slowly but surely healed its racial wounds. We see the photographs of integrated lunch counters and celebrate how far we've come. But here's the reality nobody talks about. While the language of oppression changed, the systems didn't. In fact, many of the most destructive policies targeting black communities were invented after the civil rights era. They just got better at hiding them. They got smarter, more sophisticated, and infinitely more dangerous because now they could operate in plain sight while everyone believed the war was already won. Let's start with the first lie, the one that might shock you the most. You've been told that segregation ended in the 1960s. After Brown versus Board of Education, schools were supposed to integrate. The Supreme Court had spoken. The law was clear. But white communities across America found loopholes immediately. They created private academies overnight, all white schools funded by taxpayer vouchers and charitable donations. In the South, entire public school systems shut down rather than integrate. Prince Edward County in Virginia closed all its public schools for 5 years. 5 years. Black children went without education while white children attended private academies. This wasn't ancient history. This was the 1960s. By the 1970s, the government introduced a new weapon that didn't require explicit segregation laws. They called it urban renewal, but black communities knew it by another name, Negro removal. Neighborhoods were labeled blighted and bulldozed. Interstate highways were strategically built through thriving black communities, destroying generational wealth and separating families from their schools, churches, and businesses. In Detroit, the construction of Interstate 375 demolished Black Bottom and Paradise Valley, two of the most prosperous black neighborhoods in America. In Los Angeles, Chavez Ravine was emptied to build Dodger Stadium. In Atlanta, entire communities disappeared under concrete and asphalt. Black families fought back. They sued. They protested. They documented the destruction with cameras and testimonies. But here's what they don't teach you in history class. American schools are more segregated today than they were in 1968. Yes, you heard that right. More segregated now than before the Civil Rights Act. Due to housing discrimination, gerrymandered school districts, and the school-to-prison pipeline, black children are more isolated now than they were 60 years ago. According to research from UCLA's Civil Rights Project, the average black student attends a school where only 29% of students are white. Segregation didn't end. It was rebranded as school choice, neighborhood schools, and property tax-funded education. The machinery of separation just became invisible. Now let's talk about the second lie, one that's destroyed millions of lives. You've been told the war on drugs was about public safety, about protecting American families from the scourge of addiction. In 1971, President Nixon declared drugs public enemy number one. The media sold it as a moral crusade. Nancy Reagan told children to just say no. Politicians on both sides competed to be tougher on crime. But in 1994, one of Nixon's own advisors, John Ehrlichman, admitted the truth in an interview that should have changed everything. He said, and this is a direct quote, "We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be black, but by getting the public to associate black people with heroin and then criminalizing heroin heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news." Read that again. This wasn't conspiracy theory. This was confession. The war on drugs was explicitly designed to criminalize blackness itself. By the 1980s, the Reagan administration supercharged this campaign with mandatory minimum sentences that defy any reasonable definition of justice. Crack cocaine, used predominantly in black communities, carried sentences 100 times harsher than powder cocaine, the drug of choice in white suburban America. 5 grams of crack got you 5 years mandatory. You needed 500 grams of powder cocaine to get the same sentence. The chemical difference between the two? Essentially none. The racial demographics of their users? Everything.
Here we go again, another day, another can.
The old way of preparing for disasters is broken. Stockpiling bland cans and mystery buckets that taste like cardboard? That's how folks used to do it. Before prices went sky high and FEMA started talking about closing its doors. We're for patriots, and we're on a mission to fix it. We believe every American family deserves real
The result was catastrophic and deliberate. Mass incarceration exploded like a bomb in slow motion. In 1970, there were 300,000 people in U.S. prisons. By 2000, there were over 2 million, most of them black and brown men arrested for nonviolent drug offenses. The 13th Amendment, which supposedly abolished slavery, contains a loophole that reads, "except as punishment for a crime." That exception became a gateway for legal slavery to continue under a different name. Prisoners became free labor for corporations making military equipment, furniture, and even lingerie. They worked for pennies per hour with no labor protections, no unions, no rights. The war on drugs was never about drugs. It was about control. It was Jim Crow in a prison uniform, and it's still operating at full capacity today. The third lie might be the one you've heard most often. You've been told that black wealth inequality exists because of bad choices, poor financial planning, or cultural problems. Why don't black people just save more? Work harder? Stop spending on expensive things? But this narrative conveniently ignores centuries of stolen wealth and government-sanctioned terrorism. After the Civil War, newly freed black Americans were promised 40 acres and a mule as reparations for 246 years of unpaid labor that built the entire economy of the South. But President Andrew Johnson, who took office after Lincoln's assassination, reversed the order. The land was seized back and given to former slaveholders. Black families started from less than zero. They started in debt, sharecropping the same land they'd worked as slaves. But some black communities refused to accept this fate. They built their own wealth through determination and genius. Which brings us to June 1st, 1921. Greenwood, Oklahoma, nicknamed Black Wall Street, was the wealthiest black community in America. It had thriving businesses, black-owned banks, luxurious hotels, movie theaters, and even black millionaires. On May 31st, a white mob was deputized by the city government and given one mission: destroy Greenwood completely. They didn't just riot. They dropped incendiary bombs from airplanes on American citizens. Over 300 black people were murdered. 10,000 were left homeless. 35 blocks were burned to ash. Bodies were dumped in mass graves in the Arkansas River. And Tulsa wasn't unique. It was part of a pattern. There were dozens of massacres like this across America that have been erased from textbooks. Rosewood, Florida in 1923. Wilmington, North Carolina in 1898. Elaine, Arkansas in 1919. Every single time black communities built wealth, it was destroyed by white terrorism, often with government approval or participation. Insurance companies refused to pay claims. Banks foreclosed on destroyed properties. The government never compensated survivors or their descendants. This wasn't ancient history. People who survived these massacres lived into the 21st century. Their grandchildren are alive today, still living with the economic consequences of that stolen generational wealth. Today, the median white family has 10 times the wealth of the median black family. That gap didn't happen because of bad choices or poor work ethic. It was engineered through terrorism, discriminatory policy, and outright theft, repeated for generations. When you understand this history, the wealth gap stops being a mystery and becomes exactly what it was designed to be: the predictable outcome of centuries of extraction. The fourth lie is more recent, but equally destructive. You've been told that affirmative action gives black people an unfair advantage, that it punishes white people for the sins of the past. Critics claim it's reverse racism, that merit should be the only factor in college admissions and hiring. But this narrative ignores two crucial facts. First, who actually benefited most from affirmative action? The answer might surprise you. White women have been the largest beneficiaries of affirmative action policies, not black people. Between 1970 and 2000, white women's access to higher education and professional jobs skyrocketed thanks to policies designed to help marginalized groups. They broke into law schools, medical schools, and corporate boardrooms using the same programs now being dismantled.
Prostate exams are outdated, and here's why nobody talks about it. take Vicks for swollen prostate, my problem with urination finally stopped, and what I did was ridiculous. My urologist asked me to throw everything away and just do this simple trick he recently learned at a conference. I even thought about changing urology.
Meanwhile, black applicants still face discrimination at every level. Studies consistently show that resumes with black-sounding names like Jamal or Lakeisha receive 50% fewer callbacks than identical resumes with white-sounding names like Greg or Emily. The playing field was never level, not even close. And now, in 2023, the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action entirely, calling it unfair and unconstitutional. They eliminated the one tool specifically designed to address historical inequality. But legacy admissions, which overwhelmingly benefit wealthy white families whose parents attended elite universities, remain completely untouched. Privilege protects privilege while calling equality unfair. Finally, the fifth and perhaps most dangerous lie. We're living in a post-racial society. After Barack Obama's election in 2008, media outlets declared we'd entered post-racial America. Racism was over. We'd moved on. The election of a black president was supposed to be proof that the system works, that anyone can make it if they try hard enough. But something else happened that nobody wanted to talk about. Hate crimes spiked immediately. Voter suppression laws returned with a vengeance after the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, declaring that racism was no longer a problem and federal oversight was unnecessary. States immediately introduced strict voter ID laws, closed polling places in black neighborhoods, and purged voter rolls using flimsy pretexts. Then came 2020 and the murder of George Floyd. Millions marched in every state and dozens of countries. The world watched as America confronted its violence. For a brief moment, it seemed like real change was possible, like the nation might finally reckon with its past and present. But within 2 years, over 40 states introduced laws banning critical race theory, a legal framework taught in law schools that most people had never heard of before politicians decided to weaponize it. These laws banned teachers from discussing racism honestly, from teaching about slavery's legacy or systemic discrimination. Books by black authors were pulled from libraries. School boards across America voted to erase uncomfortable truths from curricula. Parents showed up to meetings screaming about history they'd never learned themselves, terrified their children might feel bad about the past. The same systems that oppressed black people for centuries are now banning the teaching of that oppression. If you can control the narrative, you can control the future. And that's exactly what's happening right now, in real time, in schools across America. Children are being taught a sanitized version of history where slavery was unfortunate but brief, where racism ended with Martin Luther King's dream, where everyone is equal now and discussing inequality is divisive. History isn't just about the past, it's about power. It's about who gets to tell the story and who gets erased from it. Every lie you've been told about racism serves the same purpose: to make you believe the system is fair, that if black people are struggling, it must be their fault. But the truth is, the system was designed to work exactly this way. Slavery didn't end, it evolved into convict leasing and mass incarceration. Segregation didn't end, it was repackaged as school choice and neighborhood schools. Oppression didn't end, it was perfected into policies that don't mention race, but devastate black communities with surgical precision. But here's the good news, and you need to hear this. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And once enough people see it, the lies lose their power. The machinery of oppression relies on ignorance, on people believing the myths they've been taught. It requires us to think racism is individual prejudice instead of systemic design. It needs us to believe we're past it, so we stop fighting it. So the next time someone tells you racism is in the past, or that we're all equal now, or that black people need to just work harder. Remember this. The biggest lie isn't that racism doesn't exist. It's that it ever went away. It just changed its name, put on a suit, and wrote itself into law. And unless we recognize it, unless we name it and dismantle it, it will continue destroying lives while hiding behind the myth of progress. The truth doesn't spread itself. That's our job. That's how we break the cycle. That's how we finally, truly move forward.
I caught my stepson spying on me in the shower at the same time that my husband used this trick to get hard. I discovered something crazy with a Boston doctor. I almost fired him until I let my stepson test it on me at dawn in the bedroom.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to kind of throw that up there for you. We have as I said, we're not going to bother you with a lot of stuff here. I see Ms. Peake still hadn't joined us. Dr. Wills is not going to be able to join us. And as they try to throw Martin Luther King's name around, we also want to show you the short film where he was talking about he's tired of marching. I wonder why they never show us that. Oh, he say, we coming to get our check. Why they never show us that? But they love to show you that I have a dream and to be nice and be kind and just let people do what they want to do to you, and the Lord gonna make it all right. Well, that's another story. But again, we have to be careful. Now, I did share with you that we were going to talk about the word slave, and it comes from the Slavic people of Eastern Europe. And when white people try to tell you that, well, the Bible says, it comes from the Slavic of Eastern Europeans. It is not supported by the Bible. Slaves actually were in a war with the Muslims. The Slavic people were actually in a war with the Muslims. Muslims defeated them, and then they enslaved them, the Slavic people. And it just kind of, if you look at the Geneva Bible, that'll break it down for you. And it talks about evidence of slavery predates written records. The practice has existed in many cultures and can be traced back 11,000 years. Slavery roots, war and economic domination, 6800 BC. See, that's the word they try to, slide by. War. War. You defeat somebody and then you force them to do what it is you want them to do until such time they are able to escape or fight for themselves. And that's what people do not talk about. And that's what our less melanated brothers try to make you believe, that the Bible supports slavery, etc. And I'm going to get down to that point as well when it talks about the translations and all of that thing. Even when people talk about the King James Version being the most accurate, when the scholars talk about it being the most accurate Bible on record, and it talks about the translation and how close it aligns with certain speaking, etc., etc., etc. And you can look it up. I'm just sharing some outlines with you so that you can check this out for yourself. Don't just hear what I'm saying and what's on my paper. But nobody talks about that. And then when we go in interpretation, sadly, we start trying to interpret it the way we want it to be interpreted instead of reading what the Bible scholars say. Now, if you tell me, I know it was 30 years ago. I've been doing Black History forever, instructing and teaching it. And they used to say that the most accurate Bible was the King James Version, and it was only 98% accurate, according to their estimation. Now, since we have AI, it is saying that King James Version is still the most accurate, but it's now 99.5%. I don't know how that happened. Well, how that happened? And in several books, they've taken out several passages of scripture and all of that. So that's what I'm sharing when we start talking about actually learning about who we are, because we let people tell us who we are. Is it tiresome? Yeah. You try to study all this stuff, look at this stuff, go through this stuff, and you got to know where to look, and you got to know what you're looking for. That's where we just, as our version of Ministry of Men, we want to be sure just to kind of share some of that. And when we talked about the illusion of whiteness, now the year 1681, it talks about in the annals of history, the year 1681 stands as a pivotal point in the construction of racial identities, particularly with the formal inception of the term white people within legal framework. This juncture significantly predates the systematic reference of Carl, remember that name, von Linnaeus. You can look it up yourselves. Carl von Linnaeus, the 18th century polymath, whose Linnaeus taxonomy later solidified the notion of race in the biological science, thereby contributing to the perpetuation and installation of racial division. So unless Carl Linnaeus is God, then the Bible does support people being white. It does say that there's a white supremacy piece, unless he's God. So that's why you have to know this stuff. Because people tell you this foolishness, and they sit up and pretend like they believe it, but they know better. They know, they just tell us that. They already know better. Then we're going to talk about the introduction of white people after the state legal entity was a calculated move emerging from the socio-political landscape of the time, which was deeply entrenched in colonial expansion and economic stratagems. It represented a deliberate attempt to satisfy and stratify society along racial lines, etc. And then while Linnaeus is often spotlighted for his role in the biological rationalization of race, it is imperative to recognize that his work was not the genesis of racial classification, but rather a scientific codification of an already prevalent ideology. We know what ideology is, right? But we believe that. When I left melanated brothers feed us this garbage. And we believe it. Then you have to say, you gotta believe what the Bible says, you God against God. It ain't nothing to do with God against God. Know the lineage of words and how they're translated and how it comes down and what it means. And they're telling you that they are some supreme race that's ordained by God. Copycat. A bunch of foolishness. Now, and if the research is wrong, it's their research. It's not our research. It's their research. So if the research is wrong, it's their research. Even with the word slave, if the research is wrong, then it's their research. And we talk about slaves, they had slaves in Africa, etc. When you talk about Pharaoh and letting my people go and all that kind of stuff, what do you think Egypt is? It's in Africa. And they come up here talking about the Middle East and all this stuff because they want to rename stuff. We don't think. Iraq and Iran, all these wars fought. What do you think? That's in Africa. But we don't even think. It was just whatever the Massa say, that's how we roll. And that's not put down. That's because you're not being taught in school. I was not taught a lot of things in school after they shut down the black school and I had to go to Airline High School. And last thing I'm going to say before we go, I see Ms. Peak still not here. Yesterday, it's 2025, and my wife knows what I'm fixing to say. I would tell black athletes all the time, I hate Larry now, because I'll tell you all the time, I said if black athletes would stand up and tell the truth to all of these black boys that's going to these white colleges, it would be a mass moving away from and going back to the HBCUs. I said all you have to do, and I would tell my boys this is a play for me, all you have to do is go on the campus where you're being recruited and see how they treat the common black student. And I think my wife kind of poo-pooed me. It worked out just like God needed it to just yesterday. This little guy from Spring Hill, whom I had spoken to twice, when he was shoulder to shoulder, decided he didn't want to open his mouth. Then when they introduced me and started talking about I was part of the championship football team and all of that, could we leave yesterday? No. No, you won't talk to me. She had to drag me to the car. If we stop allowing people to tell us who we are and start finding out who we are ourselves, And if I could get these guys that's really known to start sitting these black boys down and say, hey man, this is what you're gonna deal with. See how they treat the other black kids on campus. Not a token that they got in some little club so they can put him on the cover when they're advertising to get kids to come into the university. I'm talking about just the regular students you see walking around on the campus. They look at you like you're not supposed to be there. Now, and she can tell you if I'm lying, I would tell her all the time. I said, I would get a kick out of it. You know, you in class with them or whatever, they're like they don't want you sitting next to them. Then they mess around and go to a football game, people calling your name out, and they see you with your helmet off, and like, they say, oh man, I didn't know you did football. Get out of my face, white boy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I have no business losing that take. I'm being honest. I got ran off the football team the whole nine. Because you got to give me some answers. I ain't playing that. But I got a great education, I think, for that. But I also got a great education at Mississippi Valley before transferring to Louisiana Tech. Because I wanted to play for Grambling. Any Grambling nights in here. But I had to sit out for 2 years. I'm thinking football. Not thinking about the things I'm going to have to deal with. So as we do our Ministry of the Men, as we do this part of our Black history, this is just part one. Because this is really it's really a full week workshop. And there's so much stuff that you break down, there's so much work that you get to do, work that you get to interact with, things that you get to see, and things of that nature. Not only information that we show, it's information that we give out, that we share, etc. Because you need to know who you are. Your babies need to know who they are. It's just that simple. It's not about hating anybody. It's not about any of that. But I'll tell you this, if I can stand here right now and see my great-grandmother going into the store and she's afraid to look up and she's holding the basket, standing by the door and won't move until the quote white people unquote tell her to move. I was a little boy, but I remember that.
Yeah.
Right. I remember that. My other grandmother afraid to look out the window when we driving in the car. They telling you step off the side to the sidewalk. I remember that. So when people try to make you think that you somehow paranoid, or when people try to make you think that racism is gone, just because there's a new building, if there are new clothes, if there are new fashions, has nothing to do with an old mindset. Make America great again. What do you think that is? And people, Mr. Gilbert, you can speak to that. The young man trying to argue with you the other day. I want to debate with him. And he's a young man. He's not old like me. So if things, and people say, well, but you know, it's much better now. As a boy, I got to say this as we leave, I too would wonder why a lot of the older black men would have new cars sitting in front of a shotgun house. And it was only when I got to be a young adult and really delved into black history, they would loan you money to get a car. But they wouldn't loan you money to get a house. And they wouldn't sell you no land. But nobody tell us that. So we don't know. And a lot of times, the parents would keeping us safe by not telling us a lot of stuff. And then so we grew up with this stuff in our heads. Not even knowing and understanding. But that's got to stop. Because these babies right here who don't have a chance to go to black schools, these babies right here who's getting these washed down curriculums, these babies right here that's getting all the information stolen and whitewashed and changed out, they're going to be pitiful. Because they're just going to get run right over the top of them. No place to go, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And it's our obligation to teach them so that they will know what's going on and what's taking place so that they can stand up and take care of themselves. That lady right there, I don't want to embarrass her, and because I'm not patting myself on the back. They all know the story. I was always raising double hockey sticks at Louisiana Tech. When we go back for the football stuff and stuff like that, what are they doing? You would have thought I was a superstar because they respected that I wasn't falling for it, although they didn't like it. Because I still stand my ground to this day. I'm gonna let you know. Don't even come close to me with that foolishness. We're gonna enjoy this day, etc. As ex-ball players, ex-students, etc. But all of this, somebody gotta bow to you and all that and get out of here with that foolishness. So we have a job. We have to get our kids. That's why I told you about Airline High School right there in Bossier City. The counselor there, Elder, I know you have a baby that's a senior. I don't know the black counselor. And I want my wife to tell you if I start lying, when was that, last year when she called me about coming to do a Black History program 2 years ago? Yeah. She was all excited. I said, well, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I think it's great. I said, but don't tell them you called me. I said, because if you tell them you called me and asked me to come, they ain't gonna let you do it. She wanted to have a Black History program. Didn't happen. Because she did exactly what I told her not to do. Because they knew I wasn't gonna come shucking and jiving. I wasn't gonna be disrespectful, but I was gonna call it like it was. Because when they had the only Black History program that they had there, I was the keynote speaker that day. I'm sorry, guys, I'm turning this off. That's your friend, Dr. Farrell. I have to call him back. So understand something. It's our job. It's not preaching hatred. They try to tell you that you're preaching hatred and you're preaching divisiveness. If you're preaching the truth, how can that be divisive? Yeah. You know, and that's why I asked Mr. Gilman to read that letter, is because you committed the act. But if I mention the act, I'm the problem. Now somebody help me understand. I'm dead serious. Somebody needs to help me understand, because I took too many hits in the head playing football. I can't understand that. I walk over there right now and disrespect Elder McKenzie. And he say, wait a minute. Now I got an issue with him because he didn't allow me to disrespect him. Somebody help me. It's gotta be me. I tell my wife all the time. I say, if it's me, tell me. I can't understand that. But we put up with that all the time from our less melanated brothers and sisters. Instead of checking them. Bullies love for you to let them slide. They don't care nothing about you being nice. That's what they strive on. That's what they strive on. So just understand, when we talk about Black history, I'm finna get out of here right now. I was trying to wait on this because I want her to talk about you and the ski Aaron. And she told me she was calling in. Okay, we're fixing to get out, but so ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate everybody for coming. But you know what? Let me, if you don't mind, I know this is not very professional, but let me call Mrs. Peak and see if she's gonna be able to get on or not. I'm telling her business now, she was at the grocery store, and she might have got caught up. Okay. But she has a beautiful story.
Wait, I want you, one of my sister friends that I invited left, Sister Felicia Middlebrook, and I thought I saw Elder Jerry Kamara Davis is here. Am I pointing to you?
Yes, ma'am.
This is my friend here that came, though she had some things to do.
Ready?
She said that she was coming to support.
Okay, can you click in, please?
So thank you for coming.
Thank you. They are trying to ready to go. Well, I was hoping so, but I don't know if they could hear you on the phone. I really want to. Can you say something? Can you guys hear her? Yeah. Okay, Mrs. P. Okay, I tell you what, if you can't get on the Zoom, then I will hold the microphone up. I just wanted to see your beautiful face. But if you would share with us briefly, we also have Elder McKenzie here. You know, he's a B-52 bomb as well. And yes, ma'am, I want to wait until you talk as well, just out of respect for you and him. So please, take it away.
All right. Well, our father, Elaine, Eason Steele, and Anita Eason Peak. Our father was Frank Clifford Eason, and he was a lieutenant in the Tuskegee Airport at the time from Detroit City Airport, flying. And I just wanted to say that at the time that the World War II, race was a number one consideration for whatever you were doing. And that's why he did not get the same pay or the same accolades until really after his death in the 90s.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to share?
That's good enough.
Okay. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking.
I appreciate you taking time to at least get with us, because I promised them that you were going to be here. And as I said, we knew that we had a pilot in the house with us, and I just wanted to wait until we do that time as well for Elder McKenzie. Elder McKenzie, will you come share with us a few minutes, kind sir? Mrs. Peak, thank you very much.
Thank you so very, very much. And Elder McKenzie, just to be on the phone at the same time you are is a blessing. And thank you so much.
Bless you, Mrs. Speed. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for taking the time.
Get out your way, y'all.
I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out for this breakfast and what really turned out to be a symposium, a sharing of ideas and history and some rich critical thinking. And I want to thank Reverend Melvin Lars. You can tell he really put in some time in developing this. And we need more of this. Our people need to hear more of it, which I will leave with this thought as I was sitting there. And I'm going to challenge you to do the same thing that I did. Who could I have invited? Or who could I have gone to pick up and bring with me here today that would have benefited from this sharing of information? I invited some, but who did I tell that I should have? And those names that come to mind the next time we do something, invite them. Go and pick them up, because this is needed. Reverend Lars, this is a success.
Thank you, sir.
I thank you for your efforts, especially in the work you're doing in standing the ministry of men up. And because I was blessed when I sat at our table and ate breakfast, and Coach and the other brothers started sharing, right, their stories. And we need to do that more and outside of this room, because there are some people in the street that needs to hear your story. Right? They need to hear what you have been through, because you are Black history, Black excellence, and Black inspiration. Bless you.
Thank you, Elder. Now, it's my understanding, Brother Glass, that you're the administrative men representative for your church, and we're happy that you're here. If you want to share something real quickly, please feel free to do so. If we have any other brothers in the room that's the administrative men directors for their specific churches, feel free. And Elder, you mentioned Coach right here. If you want 5 minutes, Coach, we fix to go home. We're done. And they have another engagement here, so I know I need to get out. But if you, the 5 minutes you want to share, please feel free. Okay?
Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome, sir. So again, the Elder has already said it. We are happy that all of you came. We're happy that you're here. And we hope that we said something that was beneficial. Yes, sir.
I just want to ask you, what search for that PM that from you?
know what, I will give you a list of all of those that we have. Yes, sir. And I have the email and everything, right? I'll send it to you. I'll tell you on email. All right. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Yes, to Reverend Lawrence and to everyone here, I just do want to just express, I'm Pastor Najiri Kamala, Restoring Broken Lives Outreach Ministries, and I just want you to know how I felt with the information that was being presented. I think it is so apropos for right now, for what we need to do as a community, and I know this is a prayer breakfast for men.
No, ma'am, it was breakfast for me, but it was breakfast for us all.
Yes, sir, and then my husband, we have the ministry like what you were sharing, he's tied up this morning with other ministry work. But I wanted to come here and hear, and I'm saying that for what you presented is exactly in line with where it is that the Lord has my mindset in terms of the change that needs to occur with our people, and it is most assuredly enlightenment about who we are in these systems that have us oppressed. And so it is, you see, we have the more elder people in the room. The information is for the younger people.
Yeah.
And let me say, not because I'm bragging, but the Lord blessed me with a younger husband, and he has a voice that the younger people are hearing and listening to, and he most assuredly needs you to pour into him. Because they'll hear the younger folk, they not really wanting to listen to the older, but we have the seasoned knowledge of our history, of who we are. And certainly I was proud to hear you saying you standing up to these folks, because that's why I am like I am, because I have stood up to them and they respect you.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's
we're not like
unfortunately our people, if we stand up, they want to label us, you know, a mad, angry black woman, but no, I'm wide awake. I see through the illusion.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm saying thank you, Dr. Lawrence, for inviting me. And I'm saying I'm feeling good about being here to know that there are black men in this city, in this region, that I could connect with, so that I could be, you know, instrumental in helping to continue to pour down information to the younger generations. I am a teacher. I've been called to teach.
Yes,
And so my charge is to help enlighten our people. And I'm just saying this because, you know, this is the Lord flowing in me. I'm glad that I'm in this environment, because it is helping me to feel a little bit more comfortable, because I'm disturbed about my society and what we're living. And I've been called to do something about it.
Amen.
And so I'm just here to be participatory as a warrior. The ancestors have called me out. And so I'm here to link up and do the will of the Lord. And so thank you. That's it. I just want to express it, to get it out of me.
Thank you. Okay, as I said, we getting kicked out of here, but I see Brother Glass step back in. I understand that you, the minister, has been representative for this great church, brother. If you have anything you want to share with us briefly, feel free.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Rudolph Glass. I am with the men's ministry here. I started some work. I was just taking a lot of notes. You're very instrumental into what I've been doing. I don't have time like I used to listen to you. I went to DC a couple of weeks ago with Black Voters Matter, with the Baton Rouge last Monday with the Power Coalition. I'm doing a lot of work with that. I just invite any of you all, get involved, get the young people involved. We have a lot of work to do. And like I tell people, a lot of times when they're sleeping, we're working. Mm-hmm. And I just thank you, also Elder, thank you, and everyone else that came. And hopefully soon I will have a ministry breakfast, and hopefully it can be comparable to yours.
Amen. Amen. Anybody else? Thank everybody for being here. We appreciate you, and it's been great. And feel free to call me, contact me anytime. If you have not signed the sheet, please sign it with your telephone number and
I'll get that information to you, brother, about those YouTube information. We over our time.